Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 312 based on novel. So let's start. In the field, at the moment when the rock armor was broken, the expressions on the faces of the people present were instantly solidified, and then the eyes immediately became hot. The rock armor was broken, so this invariable battle finally added a bit of interest. Xiao Yan's angry eyes were wide open, and the ferocious anger in his eyes was not concealed. Xiao Yan ignored it. His body was close in an instant, and his shoulders hit the former's chest heavily. Then he heard a low collision sound. Xiao Yan's body flew backward, and then fell heavily on the broken platform. Xiao Yan gently twisted his body and stretched out his hand. Xian Chongkai immediately fell into his hand, and the voice of disdain vomited out. "If I admit defeat, what are you?" After the words fell, Xiao Yang walked slowly towards the latter, came near, took a giant ruler in his hand, and followed him to remake it. Bang! There was a low explosion, but unexpectedly, Xiao Yang resisted Xiao Yang's huge Kai Sheng with a palm. One hand forcibly blocked Xiao Yang's blow, and the latter's body stood up slowly. At this time, his face was full of ferocity. "Gaga, Gaga. You are the first among my peers to break my armor. However, do you really think that the rock armor is all I have?" With a sneer in his grimace, the moment Xiao Yang lifted his hand against the heavy ruler, he slapped it down again. The gray source gas immediately condensed on his palm. Then, he stepped back a few steps. Now that you have reached this stage, let you see my real strength." At the moment when the voice fell, Xiao Yang's body suddenly shook, and an amazing breath that was more than several times stronger than before swept out of his body. Almost at the same time, the latter's body suddenly shot forward, the rock quickly covered his arms, his body soared into the air, and a punch hit Xiao Yang's head. 4-star source sect. Seeing this sudden change on the court, the faces of all the people present changed. Those guys who had previously been defeated by Xiao Yang realized that it was no wonder Xiao Yang had no fear of them and could have such strength. Among the young generation of the whole family, only a few could match them. However, neither Xiao Lei nor Xiao Feng showed much surprise at this point. Even though Xiao Yang's strength exceeded their expectations, it was undoubtedly too simple to see Xiao Yang first. Let's not say anything else. As far as Xiao Lei and others are concerned, how much strength did they play in the war with Xiao Yang? Their hearts naturally know that the power of his fire lotus has not completely erupted even in the end. Once Xiao Yang tries his best, the result will be unpredictable. How could Xiao Yang be the opponent of a character who even they were shocked by? Dang! When the giant ruler waved, Xiao Yang didn't show much surprise at the situation in front of him. While his body turned around, a raging fire suddenly appeared on the giant ruler in his hand, followed by sweeping out, and shook back the falling Xiao Yang. "Real strength. Is it difficult? Would you think that this is all I have?" The faint voice of words slowly spewed out. At the moment when Xiao Yang's body was stable and in the void on his side, a body flashed out in an instant. Giant Kai fell heavily on Xiao Yang's head under the package of fire. While the latter felt the terrible breath, the mood in the whole person was suddenly tense and blew out at that giant Kai without hesitation. Dang! Different from before, this time, when Xiao Yang's fist fell, the terrible power on the giant ruler was to smash the rock armor attached to his arm. When he was shocked and his body quickly retreated, Xiao Yang held a heavy ruler and followed up with a strange body method. The two figures fought almost face to face. In Xiao Yang's hands, the broad and strong ruler not only didn't show any heaviness, but was as flexible and changeable as a long gun. It was really tricky. It was difficult to avoid danger regardless of how Xiao Yang dodged. The rock armor is condensed again and again, but it will be broken by Xiao Yang every time before the armor is formed. The most irritating thing is the raging fire attached to it. He climbs up to his body like a living creature. In the face of the attack of different fire, Xiao Yang dare not have the slightest carelessness. The source gas rushes out wildly, extinguishes the different fire again and again, and then is bitten by different fire again and again. In a short moment, there were many areas all over Xiao Yang, which became scorched black, and even his face was inevitably attacked by different fire. The noble 4-star Yuanzong was chased by a 3-star Yuanzong. Even his most proud rock armor was no longer able to resist Xiao Yang's attack, and even had no chance to agglomerate. In addition, Xiao Yang's anger was even stronger when those Xiao children cheered for it in the stands. The trembling with Xiao Yang made Xiao Yang's eyes gradually red, and his ferocious anger became more and more prominent until a certain moment. "Asshole! I fought with you." The roaring angry curse came out, and Xiao Yang slammed his palm on the huge ruler coming face to face. The strong force on it shocked Xiao Yangsheng back dozens of steps. Followed closely, the footsteps settled, Xiao Yang raised his head, but was surprised to find that Xiao Yang's face suddenly became a little strange blood red. Even between his mouth and teeth, there was a trace of blood red. As you can see from the whole body, the place burned by the strange fire. At this time, fresh blood surged rapidly, and the roots of green tendons were also high and almost wanted to burst. It looked quite frightening. However, although he became like this, Xiao Yang not only didn't have any fear color, but the violent color on his face was stronger. He raised his head and smiled ferociously at Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang's voice seemed to come from purgatory, which made people cold at the bottom of his heart. "If you can force me to use blood anger, I will completely abolish you in this war." As soon as he shouted, Xiao Yang's body suddenly rushed. At the same time, a strong breath that was close to the 6-star source sect also filled out from the chi body at the moment. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yang was also slightly surprised on his face. Unexpectedly, the secret method cultivated by this guy is quite good, but seeing the blood flowing all over the latter, Xiao Yang shook his head slowly. It's stupid that this secret method takes itself as a loss. In the field, Xiao Yang's body suddenly covered with blood also attracted the attention of everyone on the stand. At present, his eyes became stunned, and a burst of whispers sounded. "Is that blood anger? Is this guy crazy? He can practice this thing." Blood anger is the secret law of the family to prohibit cultivation. Although it's forbidden, it's just an unwritten rule on the surface. It won't have any impact. I didn't expect this guy to really practice this secret method. According to the quality of blood power, the power obtained after exercising blood anger will be different. In the past, many people competed for cultivation, but since they knew that this thing would damage the blood quality, unless it was really necessary, no one would take the initiative to cultivate. On the stand, some people who knew the secret method that Xiao Yang had used at the moment could not help sighing. It was unexpected that this guy was so crazy in order to compete for the sun of the world. Blood anger, the top secret method of the Xiao family, was even much better than the power obtained by stimulating the power of blood at the peak. This also made the Xiao family very powerful on the mainland at that time. It was not too much to look at the world and the heroes. However, it is precisely because of the existence of this strange secret method that the overall blood power of the Xiao family is rapidly diluted. Although the family has banned the people from practicing this secret method for many years, it has become a must for some bottom figures in the family because of its particularity. Therefore, this secret method has not been completely sealed by the family. After all, not everyone can have the horror talent of people like Xiao Feng and Xiao Tian. If they want to pursue stronger strength after cultivation, blood anger is the best choice. Although it will consume their already thin blood power, if they can get enough status in the family, it will be worth it in their eyes. Without power, even in this blood-connected family, it is also difficult to move. From a certain point of view, blood anger is a fatal straw for them to turn over. The reason why they call it desperate is that once they fail, they will announce that they will lose all opportunities to turn over and become the bottom of this family and even the whole continent forever. Alas! Did Xiao Yang fight so hard to gain strength? At this time, there were sighs of disappointment on the elders' table. Judging from the strength improvement of Xiao Yang's blood anger, the blood power in the latter's body is already running out. Knowing that it is impossible to be Xiao Feng's opponent alone, did you choose blood anger? I have to say, it's stupid. Xiao Qian shook his head slowly, but Xiao Yuheng, who was in the first place, felt a little moved when he heard this. He stared at the ferocious Xiao Yang on the field, his fingers clutching the handrail, and his eyes looked complex. Is it stupid, or is there no choice? The strict selection system of the family has enabled these natural strong people on the stage to determine their position in the family at the beginning of their growth. They have been sought after by countless people since childhood, and they will still sit in the seat of the former. What is the significance of accidents like Xiao Feng in the whole historical process? The whole family continues in this foolish hereditary failure, and its decline is only a matter of time. Who? In the field, with Xiao Yang's breathing, at this moment, even the air was trembling, and the powerful force churned like magma in the body. Feeling the vigorous energy flowing in the body, Xiao Yang couldn't help grinning a ferocious smile at the corners of his mouth. He slowly raised his eyes shrouded in blood color. His extremely cold eyes stared at Xiao Yang opposite. The hoarse vibrato spread, making the eardrums of the people present tingle. As long as I can win, I can afford the big price. With a grasp out of thin air, the scarlet rocks mixed in the grey mist quickly condensed under his palm, and the broken rocks quickly condensed into a long gun, on which a trace of blood energy swam indefinitely, just like blood snakes. With a twist of the wrist, the body of the gun turned. At the moment of lifting, the cold tip of the gun pointed to Xiao Yang opposite. In a pair of protruding scarlet eyes, Ling Lai's killing intention became stronger and stronger. Shua. While Xiao Yang was looking at the latter, Xiao Yang's body suddenly flickered. At the moment of the sound of breaking the air, Xiao Yang's plain face looked a little tight. While his feet changed, Tianjue's step immediately showed, and his body immediately disappeared in place. Almost at the same time, a human shadow suddenly flashed out like a ghost. The long gun wrapped in blood pierced the residual image left by Xiao Yang in situ. The fierce gun wind on it pierced the void of more than 10 feet. Its strong power was frightening. In this regard, the sudden outbreak of fighting on the field also changed the faces of many people on the stand. At this time, the speed of the two people on the stand seemed to have exceeded the cognition of most of them, so that once the speed broke out on both sides, all they could see was the fuzzy two lights. What an amazing speed! With a burst of startling voice, in the void on the other side of the battle platform, Xiao Yang stepped out slowly, looking slightly surprised at Xiao Yang. From the body method shown by the latter at this time, it is really not weaker than Xiao Lei and others. When the blow failed, Xiao Yang turned slowly with a cold face and looked at Xiao Yang not far away. The gun body shook and said angrily, "Can you just hide?" Smelling the speech, Xiao Yang slowly lifted an arc at the corner of his mouth, stepped back half a step, and raised his giant ruler slowly, facing the backward with the long gun. Bang! As soon as the gun tip was picked, a piece of gravel broke out at the foot, and shot at Xiao Yang like a meteor. The giant ruler flew into the air, and an invisible strong wind formed under the edge of the ruler. Then it fell hard, and blasted the blasted gravel into powder and spread it. Hiss! At the moment when the powder was scattered all over the sky, a red light suddenly flashed in the dust. The bloody spear pierced the powder all over the sky, divided it in two, and pointed at the key of Xiao Yang's body with a fierce killing machine. Xiao Yang's face didn't change at all. The giant ruler in his hand turned again, the ruler edge waved off, and the ruler and mang shot out, continuously connecting to the latter. Ding ding! In the burst of fire, the clear collision sound resounded again, and the collision between the two became more and more intense. Whenever the long gun came into contact with the heavy ruler, their footsteps retreated rapidly, and the soles of their feet fell, leaving conspicuous pits on the already broken platform, and the broken cracks around became more and more huge. Bang! With a loud explosion, the two people quickly flashed out of each other again, retreated 100 steps, where they settled, the ground under their feet completely cracked, and the huge feet were covered with flames. With the waving of Xiao Yang's hands, they took a magnificent ruler and awn, and then waved from heaven to earth, and then blasted away at the bloody mountain forest in front of them. 7 broken sky ruler. Rock roar. Buzz. In this collision, Xiao Yang did not make any reservation. He did his best. Where he passed, the battle platform under his feet was completely cut off. The ground melted rapidly under the burning of different fires, and the surging magma fell like a waterfall. The offensive between the two dissipated each other until it dissipated completely. The magma spilled. Xiao Yang raised his eyes and looked at him. At this time, Xiao Yang opposite was staring at him crazily. The ferocious smile from the corners of his mouth was more and more penetrating. Then the next moment. Rock whale. Xiao Yang said. The ground under Xiao Yang's feet suddenly fell down, and the surrounding ground was quickly pulled up, forming a bloody mouth. In a twinkling of an eye, Xiao Yang swallowed it in place. For a moment, the faces of everyone on the field suddenly solidified. Die. On the battle platform, Xiao Yang looked crazy. The sudden gush of blood swallowed Xiao Yang. Even Xiao Yang didn't expect it. Xiao Yang, heaven and earth are unkind. Don't blame me for being cruel. I just blame you for not blocking my way forward. As a result, it's just your fault. Poof. However, just before the words in Xiao Yang's mouth were about to fall, the ground that swallowed Xiao Yang was creeping strangely and violently. The hard ground was suddenly rippling like water waves. Then it quickly turned red and turned into a sea of magma and fire. Under the gaze of countless eyes on the stage, a figure wrapped under the flame broke out of it. Seeing this scene, the expression on Xiao Yang's face solidified instantly. He stared at the Taoist shadow falling on the ground, and his mood sank suddenly at the moment. Under the attention of the public, the figure stepped out slowly, and the fire under his feet quickly melted the ground where he landed, and the magma overflowed until the flame dissipated. The ground behind him seemed to have been paved into a fire path. You. Xiao Yang's face was livid. He didn't expect that even with such means, Xiao Yang was still safe in the end. This doesn't prohibit him from reflecting and doubting. Was it really Xiao Yang who won the war with Xiao Lei with his own strength? Ignoring Xiao Yang's mood at the moment, Xiao Yang slowly raised his head and looked at Xiao Yang, who was still holding a long gun. His face was ugly. A smile slowly appeared at the corners of his mouth. However, under this smile, there was endless cold. According to Xiao Yang's previous offensive, it is obvious that he wants to take his life. This guy is crazy to such an extent in order to win. Even if it is excusable, such excessive behavior makes Xiao Yang's heart completely cold. It seems that he has noticed the emotional change of Xiao Yang. The muscles on Xiao Yang's face can't help twitching. While stepping back, he also quickly mobilized the remaining source gas in his body. A pair of scarlet eyes look forward, and the unwilling and ferocious eyes are still strong. For this day, how many days and nights he kept awake and practiced crazily, so that he could exchange for today's victory. Even if this situation has come, it is absolutely impossible to ask him to admit defeat. Alas! This boy has perseverance, but he is not good enough. If the family can take more care of him in the future, he may be saved. In the first place, Xiao Yuheng looked at Xiao Yang in the field, shook his head slowly and said. As soon as he said this, several family elders on one side nodded again and again. They were really optimistic about Xiao Yang on the court. Without superior cultivation resources, it was really very human to improve his cultivation to such a level. In addition to this narrow mind, the rest could be called points. If they could be induced, in the future, it may become another strong man in the family. In the field, with the confrontation between the two at this time, the atmosphere on the battle platform has become tense again. A strong smell of gunpowder is filled in the air. At this moment, everyone should know that the next collision will determine the ownership of the final winner of the duel. I, Xiao Yang, have been practicing hard for thousands of days and nights so that I can ascend the throne of the Son of the World today. No one can stop me before that. The blood and tears in his eyes revealed that he was as fierce as a beast. Xiao Yang stared at Xiao Yang in front of him. The mood in his heart had reached the edge of going wild. Hiss! The giant ruler waved horizontally. Xiao Yangling looked at Xiao Yang opposite, and said indifferently, I said it was impossible for me to admit defeat. Roar! As soon as Xiao Yang's voice fell, the latter suddenly gave a deep roar in his throat. The blood in his eyes surged up. His palm tried his best to hold the long gun, and then his backhand threw the long gun forward. At the moment of the sound explosion, the long gun was only a few feet away from Xiao Yang's body. It easily penetrated the void with a sharp and piercing sound, shoot directly at Xiao Yang's head. The line of sight stared at the long gun rapidly enlarged in his eyes. Xiao Yang tilted the giant ruler slightly in his hand. The next moment, he raised his arms, and the giant ruler suddenly lifted up. The ruler method was consistent and the rainbow was fierce until 9 feet. 9 feet break the sky. 7 times breaking the sky ruler, 7 feet in succession. The power is at most comparable to the advanced fighting skills of the spirit level. However, since Xiao Yang broke through the 9 feet, the 9 feet chain is a comparable Italian level. Now when facing Xiao Yang at this time, the 9 feet come out, the result can be imagined naturally. Bang! Xiao Yang tried his best to strike and put all his strength into it, but Rao was so. In the face of Xiao Yang's 9 times breaking the sky ruler, he was still difficult to defeat. In just a few breaths, all the strength contained in the gun body was exhausted, and the remaining ruler and Orn mercilessly smashed the long gun in an instant. Roar! His eyes had been completely crazy staring at the magnificent Kai Mang that still burst after breaking the long gun. Xiao Yang's mouth roared reluctantly. His blood was boiling again at this time. He showed his blood anger again and did everything he could to win even if he drained his blood. On the grandstand, including the elder's seat, countless people could not bear to look at this crazy scene in the field. In order to win this game and to be the son of the world, this guy really cannot even die. In the front row of the grandstand, Xiao Feng, who had been sitting for a long time, finally got up slowly at this time, looked at this scene in the field with slightly complicated eyes and sighed slowly. Xiao Yang looked at this scene coldly. Although there was no action, the sudden foot Orn was invisible after all. At this time, Xiao Yang was no longer worth his shot. Pooh! However, at this time, the field was frantically mobilizing the power of blood in his body, and Xiao Yang, who wanted to do all he could, suddenly spewed out a big mouthful of blood. A pale face like paper also became red in an instant, and then coughed up a few mouthfuls of blood. As soon as his body was soft, he fell to the ground. Help people! Seeing this scene, some people on the elders' table finally couldn't sit still. They hurried down and helped Xiao Yang up. After some exploration, the faces of several elders didn't look good. Obviously, Xiao Yang's situation at this time was extremely poor. The victory or defeat was settled, and the whole audience was silent. Everyone was stunned at this scene on the field and was at a loss. At this moment, the victory or defeat seemed to be less important to them. Shua! Xiao Yang turned around and went down the platform. At the moment of parting, a streamer flew out of his fingers and fell into the arms of the elder beside Xiao Yang. Seeing this, several elders couldn't help but be a little stunned. When they looked up, they only saw the back of Xiao Yang falling off the stage. Although Xiao Yang finally won the first battle with Xiao Yang, he could not continue the battle because of the excessive consumption of source gas. Finally, the duel with Xiao Feng had to be postponed to tomorrow. In order to maintain the normal progress of the clan association, the performance competition of Yuanzhong War had to start ahead of schedule, which continued to maintain the fierce atmosphere in the arena to a great extent. The first battle between Xiao Yang and her can be called hot. If the competition is stopped at this time, I'm afraid it will cause the dissatisfaction of most people. Moreover, the original process of the performance competition is tomorrow. In contrast, it's understandable to do so. For the performance competition, most people on the field also have expectations. After all, these contestants are different from Xiao Yang and others. After several years of experience outside, they face and experience all blood and killings. In contrast, the latter has lived in the family for a long time, under the shelter of the family. Although their growth speed is not slow, however, the strength that can be displayed on the battlefield is extremely limited. There is undoubtedly a great gap compared with the former in terms of the condensation degree of source gas and the control of combat skills. It is precisely under this gap that the performance competition once again caused a boom. The fierce fighting situation, as well as the mysterious fighting skills and even the fighting skills, which are not inferior to Xiao Yang's First World War, should be very different from what they usually see in the family. All parties contend and succeed in making the atmosphere in the fighting field reach a new climax. The next day, in the tense expectation of countless people, came slowly. After the fierce competition the day before yesterday, today, before dawn, the Xiao clan is already noisy, and the martial arts arena is even more lively. Everyone is waiting for the final arena of the clan meeting, the duel between Xiao Yang and Xiao Feng. At dawn, when the first morning meeting fell from the sky, the figures of all parties in the family quickly gathered together. On the elders' table, the eldest elders and others were impressively listed, just like the countless family children below. Today, they are also curious about this. Which is stronger or weaker between the two? In the center of the arena, Xiao Feng stands in awe of the public, quietly waiting for Xiao Yang's arrival. At a certain moment, Xiao Xian and others appeared in the stands. At the same time, Xiao Yang, dressed in black, didn't set foot in the arena. The soles of his feet stomped heavily on the field. Xiao Yang raised his slightly bleary eyes and looked at Xiao Feng in the center of the field clearly. A touch of fire appeared in his sober eyes, and the whole person's spirit was also mentioned at this time. In the whole clan competition, Xiao Feng is the only opponent who can really make him value. As for others, although they are strong, he doesn't pay too much attention to them. At this moment, it's finally time for the duel between them. On the court, Xiao Feng is also looking at the late figure at the moment. His eyes are very wary, and the corners of his mouth slowly evoke a radiance. In front of Xiao Yang, like his ancestors, there are few people in the family who can make him face it squarely. In particular, his performance in the family during this period of time, the war with Xiao Lei, made him have a great interest in Xiao Yang. It is true that he can fight with the largest dark horse of the Xiao family now. This family meeting is not empty. With Xiao Yang's playing, the eyes of the whole audience moved with him. Among the thousands of eyes, in addition to being eager, more people were still curious. I wonder if the new dark horse can maintain the same prestige as in the previous wars when facing the family's son? Feeling the sight from the whole audience, Xiao Yang's face did not change. He looked straight at the opposite side. The two figures in the field were opposite each other, which virtually revealed some inexplicable meaning, making the air slightly glued. I've been standing here for an hour. While watching, Xiao Feng took a deep breath and slowly opened his mouth. His low voice was also like the atmosphere on the field at the moment, showing a bit of cold and domineering. On this day, I waited for half a year. Xiao Yang smiled and paid for it. He stepped forward and resolutely accelerated. With a random turn of his palm, Shen Chong's ruler fell into his hand. At the moment when the voice fell, his body suddenly rushed forward. The giant ruler swept through the void, bringing a broken wind sound of hunting, and rushed straight forward. Seeing this, Xiao Feng didn't have any unexpected look on his face. He just stared at the huge ruler in Xiao Yang's hand. When the latter came in front of him, the huge ruler swung up and the edge of the ruler fell sharply. Xiao Feng turned his hand over, and a long blue gun fell into his hand immediately. The tail of the gun was lifted up, and the two arms rushed forward. At the moment when they collided, the strength contained in the long gun ejected the heavy ruler. Xiao Feng stepped back half a step, and the tip of the long gun fell to the ground. He shook the ground and stabilized his body. He stepped forward abruptly with his steps. His hands held the barrel tightly, and the front of the gun turned sharply, which easily scratched the ground under his feet, flying like a broken bamboo, followed by the elbow raised by stabbing Xiao Yang. The two men collided in an instant, and the offensive was so fierce. Ding! When Xiao Yang's face changed, the huge ruler of the mobile phone suddenly fell down and twisted his wrist. Only then did he block the wide and strong ruler in front of him, stop Xiao Feng's stab, step back and exit again and again, and take the opportunity to flash back. In this short first round, Xiao Yang first suffered a small loss. At the moment of fixing his body, his eyes immediately fell on Xiao Feng. Xiao Yang's face was dignified. Although there was only this encounter between the two sides, the strength shown by the former was far better than that of Xiao Yang yesterday. There is no doubt about this. Don't let me down after waiting so long. Xiao Feng smiled faintly, turned his wrist, raised his long gun, and the Linglai spear pointed directly at Xiao Yang. Ha ha, don't worry, you won't be disappointed. Seeing this, Xiao Yang also laughed loudly. At the moment when his eyes intertwined with Xiao Feng, his body suddenly disappeared, followed by the next moment. When Xiao Feng stood up, he waved his long gun, swayed the gun body, drew a strange arc, and then popped up again and again, bringing a breaking wind, followed by a heavy percussion somewhere in the void. Dang! With a loud buzzing sound, Xiao Yang suddenly flashed out of his body, then fiercely sacrificed his giant ruler and smashed it at the latter. His body flashed again and disappeared into the battle platform. Dang! At the moment when Ju Kai was picked up by the gun tip, Xiao Yang's body flashed to one side and blew out with a fist. However, when he fell, the gun rod was a strange twist and met Xiao Yang's fist. The terrible power contained in his fist actually bent the gun to an almost impossible angle. With this, Xiao Feng stubbornly blocked Xiao Yang's fist, but even so, his body still retreated 100 steps. At the moment of self-determination, the long gun in his hand trembled violently. What amazing strength! Without that giant ruler, his strength has been improved by more than 1 grade. A thought of surprise flashed in his heart. Xiao Feng couldn't help but look up to Xiao Yang again. He could win many times on the premise of suppressing his strength. Such action and strength are really beyond the reach of ordinary people. Hiss! On the fighting field, 2 figures collided like 2 meteorites under the gaze of countless eyes. The terrible tide immediately surged and swept, and the huge fighting field was destroyed again in an instant. In the field, 2 figures staggered, a burst of fire burst out, and the sound of gold and iron collision sounded like thunder. After a moment of collision, they separated quickly. Xiao Yang's Xian heavy ruler was heavily inserted under the ground and forced his retreating body to drag out a distance of more than 10 meters, which gradually stabilized. Xiao Feng opposite was also frightened behind with the help of his sharp long gun. After quitting more than 10 steps, the soles of his feet stamped the ground heavily. At the moment of bursting under his body, his long gun was inserted into the ground like a nail and his body was settled. After a fierce collision, the faces of the 2 people changed. The fierce collision not only damaged their bodies, but also caused a surge of internal qi, which could not be recovered for a long time. However, under such a fierce collision, the expression on their faces was excited and hot. Since the previous 2 people came on the stage until now, all the collision processes have not used any fighting skills. During this period, both of them have made collision negotiations back and forth in the most violent way, relying on their vast energy and far more than ordinary people's fighting skills, which also makes the battle more intense. It is not only to weigh the outcome with fighting skills, such a pure battle is also a test of the strong, but also a kind of experience. Since it's hard to decide the outcome of such a battle, let's just go all out. In the face of Xiao Feng's strength, Xiao Yang's war intention becomes more and more intense. Even if he had never faced Xiao Lei alone at the beginning, perhaps because the 2 sides had not played their real strength in the battle, but now they are different. When they meet the real opponent, the war suppressed in his heart rises involuntarily. At this moment, Xiao Yang can already feel that there is a surging sense of war in his body, and he is about to break out. Come on. I hope you won't disappoint me. Xiao Feng's eyes were also unruly, and a wild laugh came out of his mouth. At the same time, his voice became lower and lower. At the same time, a bullying momentum spread out from his body. Buzz. For a moment, the faces of many people in the field changed slightly. Even Xiao Lei and his eyes on the grandstand tightened involuntarily. This guy has half-stepped into the 5-star source sect. Xiao Lei stares at Xiao Feng on the field, and his eyes are somewhat surprised. So, once the clan sacrifice is over, his strength will have to be improved a lot. At that time, I'm afraid even you may not be his opponent. Xiao Zhuobin was a little surprised and raised his eyebrows. The mood in their hearts was general. Xiao Feng was obviously much more terrible than they thought. But even so, it's not easy to win Xiao Yang. While they were talking, Xiao Yang and Xiao Feng retreated respectively. Xiao Yang stood on a relatively complete ground in the martial arts arena. Xiao Feng crossed in the air and his hands gradually joined hands. At the same time, between heaven and earth, a stream of wind suddenly turned down and quickly condensed behind Xiao Feng and turned into a huge virtual image. Fengshan anger. At the same time, Xiao Yang at the moment also closed his hands, opened his mouth slightly, and the raging purple flame spewed out from his mouth. Between rising, he also gradually turned into a flame giant behind him. The terrible high temperature and the awe-inspiring momentum of majesty and hegemony made the atmosphere in the field tense immediately. Fire God anger. Xiao Yang uttered a violent drink, and the huge flame virtual image behind him moved, raised his head and chest, and went straight to the sky. At the same time, the blue virtual image in the sky also slowly leaned forward with Xiaofeng's body, and an overwhelming and frightening threat swept away immediately. On the arena, two towering figures, with an indomitable ferocity, approached slowly and collided with each other under the gaze of countless hot eyes below. Hiss! The imagined shocking explosion did not happen. The two giant gods trembled violently under the attention of the public, and the vigorous energy swallowed up each other and gradually dissipated, waiting for the final winner. Under the giant god, the strong wind oppressed everyone's head on the field, and the afterwaves lifted the broken stone platform layer by layer. In just a few breaths, the broken fighting field was completely turned into ruins. Within the 2 breaths, Xiao Yan struggled to lift the soles of his feet, and then fell heavily forward. For a moment, only Wang Ran heard in the field, and the huge blue virtual image was immediately shattered. The roaring energy overflowed, so that all the elders on the elders' table had to rush forward. However, Xiaofeng is also no inferior. His steps are approaching gradually. The 2 virtual images are also rapidly consumed under such a strong impact. His huge body is rapidly consumed under such a collision until a certain moment. Bang! On the field, 2 broken gods burst, and the 2 energy streams collided rapidly and were jumbled together to form a huge flame sphere. At the moment of bursting, the whole fighting field, including the surrounding stands, trembled suddenly, and Xiao Yang and his 2 people in the field were shaken back. Xiao Yang turned white and couldn't help gushing blood from his mouth. Looking at Xiaofeng, although his face was equally pale, he at least suppressed the blood surging in his body. At this moment, the gap between the 2 people's accomplishments has gradually become prominent. Even if Xiao Yang, who is bearing a different fire, wants to defeat Xiaofeng, it is not an easy task. You are very strong, but unfortunately, the cultivation gap between you and me is not something you can easily cross with different fire alone. Looking at Xiao Yang spitting out an old blood on the other side, Xiaofeng gasped slowly for a while, and then said calmly. Hearing this, Xiao Yang couldn't help looking up. His eyes were also staring at the latter, and then swept to the surrounding stands. His eyes moved slowly until he caught a glimpse of Xiao Dingtian and others on the elders' table. He suddenly felt cold in his heart. His eyes turned, grinned, and said, "It's not over yet." As soon as the words fell, Xiao Yang immediately lifted his hands and linked his fingers. At this time, the different fire in his body suddenly rolled up. Then, a flame of different colors gushed out of Xiao Yang's body. Almost at the same time, the momentum in his body also rose rapidly like a rising ship. In the center of his eyebrows, a familiar rune twinkled. 3 mysterious changes in sky fire. A burst of low drink was sent out in his heart, and the purple flame gushing out immediately converged into his body. At the same time, Xiao Yang's momentum of rapid rise also soared again at this moment. In a twinkling of an eye, he would not be inferior to Xiaofeng on the field. Oh! The secret method, but it's good. In this way, we can have a fair duel. Xiaofeng raised his eyes slowly and looked at Xiao Yang, whose breath was rising rapidly. A satisfied smile appeared on his face, waved his arm, and the long gun in his hand shook suddenly, and the sound of breaking the air immediately rang through. Suddenly, the 2 people on the field seemed to have agreed. 2 vague figures burst out respectively, and collided with countless hot eyes with the ferocious momentum of marching forward. On the field, the distance between the 2 people was nearly 100 feet in the blink of an eye. At the moment of approaching, both sides looked at each other, and the fiery war intention in their eyes was surging out like a volcanic eruption. At the same time, Xiao Yuheng and others on the elders' table stared at Xiao Yang in the field. To be exact, they stared at the mysterious seal between his eyebrows and were slightly surprised. Is that family pattern? I can't imagine seeing the abandoned things again after many years. The old eyes stared at the family pattern representing the identity in the center of Xiao Yang's eyebrows. Xiao Zhen couldn't help feeling on his face and sighed slowly. Many family elders on the side also looked a little sigh in their eyes at this time, except Xiao Dingtian, whose eyes were empty and narrowed, and thought about it in his heart. Xiao Jinghong on the side saw this situation. Although his heart was intentional, his words came to his mouth, but he was swallowed back. Dang! The collision between the two was like the clang sound of steel collision, which resounded through the field. With the falling of this voice, the two people on the court all withdrew backward with dignified faces. The Xianchong ruler in Xiao Yang's hand and the long gun in Xiao Feng's hand were all violently shaking at this time, and their breathing became more and more urgent. The display of the three mysterious changes of Tianhua made Xiao Yang's combat power reach a higher level. Under the condition that the cultivation of both sides was completely equal, Rao was proud of Xiao Feng. At this time, he could not help feeling a heavy pressure. Whether from the transfer of source qi or the outbreak, Xiao Yang at the moment is very different from that before. He has to be very careful in almost every collision. If he can still use skills to gain the upper hand in the previous collision, at the moment, under the condition that Xiao Yang has absolute power, it is possible for him to seize any action by Xiao Yang. If he is not careful, that is to lose everything. At the moment, no one is willing to take the first shot, let alone show the slightest decline. The situation on the court has finally reached the most tense and depressing moment. The strong wind oppressed Xiao Feng so that his clothes were tightly attached to his skin. However, the expression on his face was not moved by the huge ruler chopping in the face. His eyes tightly stabbed the rapidly approaching giant ruler until he was only less than a meter away from his head, and then the long gun swept upward, and the wind burst, take down the giant ruler easily with accurate and tricky techniques. In an instant, the defeated giant ruler swept again at the moment Xiao Yang turned around. At the moment his face changed, Xiao Feng blocked the long gun at his side. With a loud bang, the amazing power from the long gun shook him back dozens of steps. The buzzing sound beside his ears was even more harsh. He even held the two palms of the gun tightly. At this time, several wounds were caused by the terrible force uploaded from it. The blood flowed and Xiao Feng had no time to take care of it. Just at the moment when he stopped, the strong Xiao Yang on his face oppressed him again. The ruler swung up and slapped Xiao Feng's body heavily. The latter used the gun as a whip and bent the long gun to the extreme. Then he knocked it heavily on the ruler. The sound of thunder suddenly rang through and the force spread, both palms trembled. The veins on both palms burst. The arms nervously controlled the weapons in their hands. Neither of them dared to relax. At this moment, Xiao Feng grasped all the opportunities. With the advantage of the long gun, the spear edge was close to the foot body, twisted and stretched forward like a snake, and stabbed Xiao Yang's wrist. His eyes were slightly tight, and the ruler's body hurriedly shrank back and raised upward. Xiao Yang clapped the back of the ruler as a high wall, pounded at Xiao Feng heavily, forcing Xiao Feng to withdraw the attack. Wind Spirit Hand. With a low cry, Xiao Feng turned the heaven and earth with one hand, closed the spear behind him with the other hand, and shot it forward. The breeze turned into countless invisible palms, wrapped around Xiao Yang and blasted away. Facing the latter's dense attack, Xiao Yang knew there was no way to avoid. At present, he didn't hesitate. At the moment when the giant ruler lifted it, the Taoist ruler and Orn swept out and stuck together one after another. The flames gushing from it also formed an airtight fire wall, which blocked all the invisible palms. And also at the moment when those palms scattered, the turbulent source gas surged up again in Xiao Yang's body under the fire wall. The purple fire covered the giant ruler's body, and a powerful energy fluctuation was rapidly condensing in it. Coming. Xiao Feng, who knew what it was, also had a dignified look on his face at this time. While his body retreated, the gun body suddenly turned and suspended in the air. With a heavy rub of his palm on it, the long gun immediately rotated rapidly. At the same time, in the void around his body, a stream of cyan wind flowed and gathered, and then quickly condensed on the long gun. There was a deep sound of dragon chanting in the field. A huge dragon made of clear wind was slowly circling on the long gun. Xiao Feng is finally going to do his best. On the stand, Xiao Lei looked at the fast-fighting long gun in front of Xiao Feng, sighed and said, "If you can let him use this move, Xiao Yang's strength will be beyond your expectation." On one side, Xiao Zhuobin nodded slightly and looked at all the young generation in the family. Except for the young clan leader and a few people around Xiao Lei, I'm afraid no one else can be qualified to force Xiao Feng to use this move. Even with Xiao Zhuobin's pride, I have to admit that I have never had such qualification. Hihi, it's not over yet. Don't forget, Xiao Yang still has a trick that doesn't work. Just don't know how much chance the Fire Lotus can win if it matches him. Xiao Lei smiled faintly, but there was some longing in his heart. At this time, the Xiao Tuye on the field was full of rebellious and fierce drinks, which suddenly rang through. The skill of the road, thousands of wind gang sho,